Hi everyone, I'm here to present my final essay topic, which I came with the title Music Performance Creativity and the Role of the Supplementary Motor Area, or the SMA. And to make the case for the supplementary motor area, among the central regions of the brain involved in music performance creativity, the supplementary motor area stands out for its fundamental role in integrating motor control, cognitive regulation, and temporal perception. So I argued adding a cubic centimeter to the SMA to enhance this operation and inform music performance. And the SMA is located in the medial portion of the frontal cortex, anterior to the primary motor cortex. So in the image, we can see the premotor and the primary motor cortex, and the purplish pinkish area on the top is the supplementary motor area. But before we jump into the SMA itself, I thought it would be necessary to define music creativity and music performance. So, defining music creativity. Music creativity is informed by the interaction between musicians, their physical, social, and cultural environments. And there are multiple forms of music creativity, such as composition, improvisation, expression, and interpretation. So, performance at any forms. And as a musician, I feel like all these forms they kind of relate to each other. They have their own areas, but for example, composition leads to performance. Improvisation is a type of performance. Not all performances are improvisation. So there is a thin line that goes around between all the forms of creativity in music. Since I focus primarily in music performance, let's talk about music performance itself. So, performance is seen as embodied, so incorporated and related to how one's body relates with the environment, and is socially situated because it can happen in solo and group performance dynamics and is strongly influenced by cultural beliefs. In Western contexts, creativity is emphasized especially through interpretation and improvisation. And again, creativity arises from an interaction with instruments, audience, tradition, and environment. When we talk about excellence in performance, excellence requires a structural understanding of the music. So it's a pre-existing, it's based on a composition and technical mastery, which is the output. So the motor functions and the sound production itself. Performance is set through elements like tempo, synchrony, and physical features. But also, there are a lot of subjectivity into the evaluation of performance because it's strongly dependent on the individual that it's in the audience. And when we think about expert performance, there are highly cognitive and motor demands involved. So creativity in musical performance emerges from ongoing performance environment interaction, balancing the structure of music with the individuality and the spontaneity of the person that is interpreting the music. So now I want you to think about all the motor and cognitive demands that are being used in the following performance. And I want you to imagine how well these functions should be integrated to favor this performance. So, just a little bit of a huge piece of 37 minutes to discuss this idea of the movement, right? We have final motor movement happening in the instrumentalists who are like in a very high demand of their motor skills. They're also using movement to collaborate with each other, so giving cues and maintaining the synchronization. Also, things that we don't see, right? We have the score in front of them, and they need to read the score and interpret that in their brains, and the output needs to be the sound, and of course, the motor processing of all this information that it's coming from the paper. So, a lot of things involved. And fundamental to the discussion to make my case for the supplementary motor area is understanding the relation between the motor functions and the music performance, since we are talking about a part of the motor cortex area. So, musical performance engages motor regions even during imagined playing. So, even though we are not active doing the motion, when we use imagined playing, those motor regions are activated. Auditory and motor systems interact continuously through feedback and feed-forward loops, which allows real-time adjustment of sound production. So imagine in the video, if something happens, they need to quickly adjust to not lose time or to keep the music going. Movement is both functional and expressive, used by performers to shape sound, convey emotion, and structure interpretation. And studies show that audience perception is influenced by the performer gestures, which communicate music intent and emotion beyond the sound alone. Motor learning in music develops through practice, so practice is a big part of performance. It's because it leads to optimized but flexible performance with expressive micro variations. Ensemble coordination relies on nonverbal cues, as we saw in the video. So you can see glances, gestures, and postures that inform the synchrony and interpretation of the music. The motor system underpins music creativity not only in execution but also in imagined and preparatory stages of performance. So, what is the function of SMA in this context? There is a temporal and sequencing control involved. So the SMA plays a central role in timing and movement sequencing, encoding both duration and order of actions. There is an activation beyond the movement. So the SMA is active during listening, imagination, and execution of music, even without physical movement or auditory feedback, which reinforce its role in auditory motor integration. There is a creative and cognitive function linked to SMA. In music improvisation and creative tasks, the SMA was associated with melody representation, hierarchical chunking, duration perception, which contributed to musical expressiveness and structure. Um, Also, in the area of mental practice and imagery, anticipatory, auditory, and motor imagery is supported by the SMA, enhancing planning, timing, coordination in solo and ensemble contexts. There's a multimodal integration in imagined performance. So during imagined performance, the SMA showed increased connectivity with motor, sensory, cognitive, and emotional regions, supporting internal representations of music. And overall, the SMA acts as a hub for timing, planning, and multimodal integration, supporting both the physical execution and the mental simulation of music performance. So, not only on the output of the actual motor movement, but also in the internal interpretation of music and mental representation. So, considering all these findings and the research I reviewed for this essay, I came up with some conclusions. So, the SMA supports both technical execution and expressive creativity, contributing to timing, sequencing, and motor planning in music performance. Empirical studies linked the SMA to key functions, such as the temporal perception, inhibitory control of involuntary movements, and the mental representation of musical actions. Musical performance requires complex integration of motor, sensory, cognitive systems, and the SMA has broad connectivity with the auditory, memory, emotional, and motor regions, enabling its integrative role in performance and imagination. So, thinking about adding an extra cubic centimeter, hypothetically enlarging the SMA could enhance fluency, temporal accuracy, and the sensory motor coordination, while also improving mental rehearsal and improvisational creativity in music performance. So, as a final conclusion, overall, the SMA acts as I call a neural integrator, uh, bringing the technical skills with imagination and emotional expression in music performance. So, thank you for watching. Here are the references for this work. And it was a pleasure working with all of you this semester. And I hope you have all the best of luck in your future endeavors. And I hope to see you maybe in a different course. So, yeah, so enjoy your summer. And that's it. Thank you so much.